Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everybody to 2020. And it's so funny because back like 2 months ago, I looked at Pip and said, 2020, like everything has to be about perfect vision. And now everybody's using it. So I was like, oh, that like lost its thrill pretty quickly. But here's the thing. It is kind of cliche, but it is 2020. And what a great time to really talk to people about having perfect vision of where they want to go. And so as we started thinking about this, obviously you all know your goals are important of where you want to go, but it's really going out and being able to resonate with other people, that piece of it, because that's how we connect to people. And let's face it, our business is people. And so one of the things that I've learned along the way is whatever we do in private absolutely shows in public. So whatever you are doing in private will almost like magnify itself in public. And so if you are practicing the skills in private, then it will come across in public. And if you're not practicing the skills, that will also come across in public. So think about this, we all watch sports, or we've watched, people who are really good at playing the piano, or, people who really sing. They all have coaches. They all have people that help them move forward every step of the way. And it's no different here. We've been coached in this business along the way and continue to be coached. And all of us have to be willing to be coached to be able to get better at all of this. I know Kevin Buckman talked about this at the Southeast Regional, and there's many, many different memes out there and quotes out there. I don't know who started it, whether it was Abe Lincoln, it doesn't matter. But the thing is, sharpen your axe before you cut down the tree. Don't go trying to cut down the tree and then sharpen your axe, because it will take you a long time to cut that tree down. So you want to go out and keep sharpening your axe, meaning work on those skill sets to get better and better at them. And one of the things that we've looked back as we reflected back over the last couple of years that we feel falls short is that people really didn't have a solid 2-minute commercial and a what is it. And when we're going out to talk to people, I'm sure that all of you would agree that if we don't convey that information of what is it, or we don't convey the information of ourselves, then people don't know us. They're not going to trust us. They're not going to be interested in what we're doing. And I hate to break the news, because I too thought, and still think sometimes, that people are going to be so interested in our product. Because we have great, great products. We all know that. But the problem is people they can go out and get another product. They can go out and get another service. They can go out and get another business. They're not buying. And think about it, when you guys first started getting exposed to this and looking into it, you didn't buy, and I'm going to use Charlotte Arter as an example. Charlotte didn't necessarily buy the product. She bought the belief in me that I could bring her something that would answer her problem, bring her a solution. Am I right? So again, it's finding out what people are looking for and then bringing them the solution. And the solution might be our products. And obviously the business is also one of our products. But what we have to realize is when we're trying to convey building that rapport, that we are not talking about product, that we are not talking about the business right up front. We are developing a skill set of sharing our story. People need to know that they can trust you, okay? And they also need to know where you're going. So my question, and you're not going to answer this tonight for all of us, but the question is, do you know where you're going? Do you have goals? Have you taken the time to write down your goals? Have you taken the time to write down what you want different, and what is your 2020 vision, and where are you going beyond 2020 into this next decade? Because if not, that's where you really need to go back to and start. Because the first thing is you've got to get down where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish so that you can even start to write a 2-minute commercial, because that's part of your commercial. So just like sports, Let's face it, I can even say weight loss. It doesn't matter. How many of you, remember, some of you might still be in the thing of, I'm going to lose this much weight, or I'm going to work out this year and I'm going to work out more frequently, or you've been in sports, or you've been in music, or you've been in some type of activity that you felt you were going to get better at. Am I right that the football team does not show up to the game and just hope that they win? Well, maybe the Eagles do sometimes. But they don't just show up and hope to win. They're practicing in private. They're practicing those skill sets over and over. It's called drills because they're drilling in, drilling it in, drilling it in, drilling it in. So the question is, I want you to walk away from tonight and think about, what would a partner in your business look like to you? What do you see in a partner? Write those characteristics down, because what you're looking for is what you have to reflect first. So I've always heard the question, would you hire yourself? If this was a hireable position in this business, would you hire yourself? And if not, what are the characteristics that you're looking for in a person that maybe you need to improve on? Because we always, all of us, at any given moment can improve on stuff. We are never, ever going to reach perfect until it's the end of time. Okay? When our time is over, we've reached perfection. But until then, we're not perfect. So we've got to always be honing our skills, sharpening our axe. And so I want you to think about this, that when you're going out, that you're going to decide all appointments that you go on, all conversations that you have from this point forward are going to be a win-win. It's going to be, hurrah, we won, yay, thank you. I'm always happy when he actually responds to what I say. You want to be in there too?
Hey.
But the thing is, we want everything to be a win-win. What do I mean by that? I want you to wake up every day and go, who can I bless today? How can I bless them? Because when we go out, people do not care what you have. They want to know how you can help them. And maybe they don't even know they need help. So our job is to find out what is missing in their life, or what is their struggle, and then bring them that solution. But we can't offer a solution until we know what's missing in their life and what the struggle is. So that's where lots of questions come in. You want to just add anything there?
Well, when you're going over your 2-minute commercial, you want to be confident. You want to actually, it's your story. You want to relay your story in such a way that you're confident but not arrogant. And it's almost like a job interview, in that you want to have posture, you want to have that positioning, but you don't want to come off too strong. And in your 2-minute commercial, you want to elicit questions. So you don't want to answer everything up front. You want to state it in such a way that it's interesting and people want to ask questions. Because if you answer everything up front, there's no follow-up question. And I think what Beth said earlier is also critical, is you have to be confident enough to be able to get them to understand that you can get them to where they want to go. That's the full belief in the whole process, is they're buying you. They're not buying the product. They're not buying the company. They're buying you. You're all they know. So without being arrogant, be confident, and make sure you make sure that they know you can get them to where they want to go.
And I just want to say this, it might not be the business. It might not be what we have to offer. It might not be our product. So when you go into every conversation, every meeting, every appointment, whatever it is you're going into, think of this. They're going to be better for meeting you, because you're going to be bringing them, you're going to be bringing, and you're going to be breathing life into them. What does that mean? It might mean that you're encouraging them to keep going down the path they're going on because they're not necessarily open to something else. It might be that they need a connection and you connect them to another person to get something accomplished. And do you think that they're going to remember you if you connect them to somebody or something that was provided a solution to them? That might come back to you. But we can't, it's kind of like, did you ever, I don't know if you guys do jigsaw puzzles, but did you ever get to the point that you're doing a jigsaw puzzle and you swear this puzzle piece looks like it should fit right there? And you're like trying to push it in and you're like, you start pushing it because you swear it should fit there. And you're trying to press it so hard and almost getting the hammer out and trying to hammer it in, and it's not the piece. I always said I was that square peg trying to fit into a round hole. People were trying to squeeze me into the round hole and I didn't fit. So how many people are out there that we're trying to squeeze them into what we have, and maybe it's not quite the fit yet? So what could we do to bless them and breathe life into them that would make them build more trust towards us, so that maybe down the road they'd come back to us because we provided them a good solution? So I think so often we go out with these antennas up of prospecting and looking for the right people instead of just going out and seeing who we can bless, and the right people end up falling into our path. But we have to have our skills sharpened and have our 2-minute story, 2-minute commercial. We also have to have our what is it down. So we're going to work tonight on the 2-minute commercials. And then in our next call, whenever that's going to be, we'll then start working on the what is it. Any of you who are, actively wanting to get started fast and get off on the new year on the right foot, feel free to always send us your what is it. We can always move faster and then just come back to these calls as a group. So again, just deciding that all your appointments are going to be win-wins. Because let's face it, if you bless somebody, was that a win?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So don't try to force people. Always, when you're writing your 2-minute commercial, be able to think of about 3 to 5 pillars that you stand on. What does that mean? Who am I? So often we say people are buying you, they're buying us, but they don't even know you. Because we're out there trying to speak about what we have in terms of product and what we have in terms of business, and we don't even share who we are as a person. So your 2-minute story is really to convey to them who you are. Where were you? Where you're going? What your struggle was? But it's got to get down. We got to get it down to a little, I hate to say a science, but you really have to get it down to something that you can perfect. One of the things that I didn't do for years was I kind of left it all up to chance. I was like, well, I know my story, and I change my story when I'm talking to this person, and this person I talk to over here gives me a different vibe, so I tell my story different. And I will tell you, I got coached on that, and my coaches, all 3 of them over time said, Beth, you don't have a consistent story. You're all over the board. And although you've had success with doing it, you're not getting the success you want because you are not consistently telling the same story. You leave it up to chance. And so it made me go, oh my gosh, yeah, that's hard to swallow sometimes, but I had to go, you're right, I'm not. So I have worked on my story to get my story down. And so again, people need to know who you are instead of leading with our products. And then I want to remind you that I always talk about with people that we have to use the team to be better. This business, we are so used to being independent people. We have to use the team to be better. And it's not that any one of you cannot talk to people. That's not my concern. The concern is, think about when you started. You didn't know what to say to somebody. Or if you're just starting, you're not sure what to say to somebody. Well, that's somebody who's sitting across the table from you is also going, oh my gosh, I can't possibly be a Charlotte Israel. I can't possibly be a Denise. I can't possibly be a Maria. I can't be that person because, man, they know what they're talking about. Which is why it's so important to bring somebody else onto a call with you, or FaceTime. And it doesn't have to be a really organized, professional, I mean, we're going to end up being professional in the end, but it doesn't have to be an organized professional thing. It's more, hey, oh my gosh, like I would love for you to meet my friend who I do business with. He lives in, would you mind if I FaceTime them in and see if they're available? And it's a quick little call to make a connection point. Carl, we just did a call the other week, and I know you can't talk right this second, but we just did a call the other week and I connected him with Colin because they have the same exact background. So it was like, I wanted Carl to be able to hear from Colin because Colin's already a director, but Carl has big, big goals. I know what his goals are. So I wanted him to hear from somebody that he could relate to that was the same background, another male, because although Carl and I have connected, he probably doesn't relate to me. I'm probably this wacky lady over there. So I wanted to make sure he got connected. So you want to have these pillars that go into your story. Who are you? What do you stand for? I said before that people don't care about your product and business. All they care about is, can you provide a solution to what their challenge is, what their problem is? So it's our job to find what that is. But then they're also looking at one key other thing. Can you get them there? Can you truly get them to the end result that you're telling them? If they don't believe that you can, they're running, and they're running fast. So we have to work on sharpening our skills. So like Pip talked about, be confident, have that posture, and bring that third party in for more posture. Do appointments together with other people. Don't ever go one-on-one on an appointment. If at all possible, always bring somebody else with you, or three-way that person in via FaceTime or a call or a Zoom session. So as we're meeting these people, we want to be able to get down to the story, and we're going to go through the actual parts of the story, but they have to, there's only 3 things, and I've gone over all of them, but I want to highlight these. They have to like you. All of you on this call are very, very likable, but they have to like you, meaning they have to trust that you can get them where they want to go. It's not that, here's the thing, like, not to pick on Charlotte Arter, but Charlotte Arter has this incredible dynamic personality. A lot of you do. People love to be around her because she's fun. But if they come around her and they're having fun, and they don't feel that she can get them where they want to go in this business, or with the solution of healthcare or whatever it is, TLS, it doesn't matter. They're not going to join her. And she might be trying to hammer that piece into the puzzle, but it's not going in because it's not quite the right fit yet. It might need a little trimming. Okay. And so we need to look at that they're looking to trust you. Where are you going? Not where you are now, not where you have been. And I always say in this business, a lot of people are like, well, everybody will join you because you're part of the $1 Million Club now. You know what? It's the same thing I always said with weight loss. I have more of a problem getting people in weight loss than people who are still on their journey. Because people go, oh, she's way out there. And I know Maria can relate to this because she went to Charlotte because Beth was like way out there. She's already doing all of it. She could relate to Charlotte getting her there because she was on the journey. Again, no different. Pip and I never, ever, ever go out and share with people, hey, we're in the $1 Million Club. How tacky is that, first of all? And second of all, that doesn't get us anything. Now, all of you could edify us for that before you put us on a call, if it's important to where that person wants to go. But if that person's only looking for $300 extra per month, you're not going to edify us as $1 Million Club members because they're going to be like kind of scared of that. Like it might not even be within their thought process. So you have to know who you're talking to and how to edify based on what the needs are. Remember, you're always trying to bring them the solution. So where you're going, not where you are now, not where you've been, always a good line for that is, imagine what it's going to feel like when you get to do this. So you know what they're looking for. Ask them, what's it going to feel like? Imagine what it's going to feel like when you're able to take your entire family to Disney, when you're able to take off vacation time and enjoy going down there and spending a week or a week and a half and not being stressed out to get home and get back to work right away, and not being stressed out over the prices of the hotels and the flights. What's that going to feel like when you get there? These are the kind of questions you want to be asking people and having conversations with. And then the third thing that people are looking for is, you have to be going somewhere that they want to go. If you're not going somewhere where they want to go, it's not a fit. Because if they don't feel that you're going in the same direction, then they're not going to tag along. So don't, again, try to force a puzzle piece. More so look at, how can I breathe life into them? And maybe in another week or another month or another year, that person might come back and join you with your products or your business. Okay. So, and if it's not where they're going, they might know somebody that they can refer to you that's going in the same direction. So that's always a good thing too. That's where we get referrals from. So going into planning our 2-minute commercial, I'd like to have, we've been working on this with a couple of you. I'd like some of you to share your tips from the last couple of times that we've been talking, to be able to move forward your 2-minute commercials, because, well, I'm just going to leave it like that. So I'm going to actually ask Pip, do you have anything that you want to add in terms of tips with the 2-minute commercial?
No, I think I already gave them. But what I do want to say is, don't minimize what Beth just talked about with that. How would it make you feel if? That's one of the tips that we learned through JR, that he does very well, that was never really imprinted in us. And it's critical when you're meeting with someone and you're trying to get to know them better. You want to be able to utilize that tool, that how would it make you feel if, and then you repeat what their goals are. So when you get to know somebody and they say, well, I'd like to make enough money to retire, or I want to get my husband out of a job, or whatever it is. You then use that in that, how would it feel? How would it make you feel if your husband was home with you and you could live your life together and he didn't have to face traffic? And then quiet until they answer completely. And then stay on it and say, how would it make you feel if? And keep going. Get them so it's an emotional attachment to the outcome that you're going to bring to them. Because what you want to do is you want to tie that emotion that they have at that moment. Oh, I would feel phenomenal if, we could go on a vacation, whatever it is. Okay. How would it make you feel to be able to check in at the Ritz-Carlton and be paying cash? How would it make you feel to not be thinking about how much dinner is going to cost? How would it make you feel? Until they get to a point where it's like, it would feel so good. I've never had that, or that's what I want. Then you go, then this is what we need to do. And to keep them engaged along the way, you want to make sure you always remember what it was that they wanted and how they felt, because you're going to bring it up again later. If they stop communicating with you, if they don't give you a names list, if you don't get a goal statement, you kind of want to go back to that. Remember how you wanted to feel, and then you work on that emotion.
Awesome. Awesome. So Denise, I'm going to unmute you here. Let's see if I can. Okay, I've unmuted you, Denise. Can you,
Okay.
I'd like, could you just share a tip that would be helpful to others that you've learned in the process of designing your 2-minute commercial? And then could you also share your 2-minute commercial, where it is right now?
Okay. So one thing that I've learned is everybody has a story, and everybody, it's human nature. We want to tell our story, but we need to remember when we're giving our 2-minute commercial, it's not our whole story, because we don't want to give them our whole life story. So less is more. you're wanting to elicit a response from them. So if you talk too long, you lose them. Because, like I said, they don't want to hear your life story. They really don't, even as badly as you want to tell it. So less is more, and just trying to keep it to the point of things that are going to open up questions for them. So I will read where I am so far. So a few years ago, I went through an unusual medical situation that my doctor told me could only be managed through a very extensive, invasive surgical procedure that I just really didn't want to have. So I reached out to a friend who shared some information with me that gave me another option. And around that same time, Paul's doctor had left the practice that he was in, and so the new doctor that took over his case wouldn't refill his prescriptions until he went through the same test that his prior doctor had him go through. And since they were already on file, Paul just really didn't feel that that was necessary. So he just didn't want to do it. And we decided to seek out some additional information, and through those resources, we found another option for him as well. And 3 years ago, we went to see our financial advisor to talk about retiring, and he told us that we couldn't retire when we really had hoped to be able to do that. And we just knew, I mean, it was our dream to be able to do that, and we knew there had to be another way. So we did some more research and we found another option. And so I never had to have that surgery that my doctor told me I would have to have. And Paul is no longer even on any of those prescriptions. And most importantly for us is he retired 3 years earlier than that financial advisor told us that we would be able to. And sadly, we've learned that many people are facing these kind of ultimatums in their lives every day, whether it's in their health, their time, or their careers, or any host of situations. But we're just really excited now that we have found a way to pay it forward by sharing with others who are looking for another option.
Beautiful. So again, that's like a full 2-minute commercial. I don't know how long that took her to say that, but again, she's reading it right now because we're just working on it. So again, the part of the sharpening the axe is practicing that, practicing it. So it's conversational. She's not going to not necessarily tell that whole story to someone in one sentence like that. It's going to be a conversation back and forth with the person. So like what I'm working with Denise on right now is bringing that down to more like a 30-second, just really extracting the most important pieces out of that to get it down to a 30-second something that she can shoot off that somebody goes, oh, and it makes them curious. You want to get the curious thermometer way up, that people are going, how'd she do that? How'd they do that? What did she do?
And the sales filter down.
And the sales filter down. Exactly. Good. That was good. High five. So very good, Denise. And again, we're going to keep working on it to tweak it. So like in terms of doing that, that would be a great 2-minute commercial in front of the room at a UBP, because she's an executive coordinator. So she's asked to get up in front of the room. That would be a great 2-minute story to be able to tell in front of the room, a beginning, a middle, and end, where she came from, what was the struggle, and that's another piece. It's going to be really, really important that you get a struggle in there somewhere, because people relate to the struggle. You had to overcome something to be able to get to where you're going and what you're excited about where you're going. So she's got all the components. Now we just have to tighten it up. So we're going to keep on tightening till we can get it down to like 30 seconds. So excellent job. And I want you guys to know it didn't start out like that. Because like Denise said, you want to tell your whole story because you want to help people. We all want to, but it's like the lap dog. You start going and it's like you don't stop. You just drool and drool and drool and drool all over the people. We've all done it. Yeah. We've all done it. So Charlotte Arter, could you offer a tip? Because I know we've been working on yours, and offer a tip to everybody about working on your 2-minute commercial?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
I was just like Beth. I was really resistant to putting this down on paper. I have no idea why. I could talk to people and I had some success, and I seemed to tell a different story every time. Not different, just I seemed to adjust it too much. And so I finally got around to typing it out, and we started going over it. And my advice is, don't be so afraid of doing this, because it really does help you. And it's not like you're going to be locked in stone and it's going to be the only one you ever do, and you have to have it memorized verbatim. It really just helps you fine tune it a little bit. And I'm at the point now, most of my approaches were based on product for people. I was introducing via product. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm meeting more people that I'm trying to introduce with a business approach. So I'm actually writing a revised 2-minute commercial for the business approach more so if it's someone that has no interest in any product. So just do it, have people help you, because it's not scary. It actually will help you tremendously. And it's not like you have to be afraid to do it or intimidated. I don't know why I was intimidated, but I was. And not a whole lot intimidates me, but for some reason this did. And having other people in the group help me has just been really helpful. I'm really looking forward to trying it out next week.
And here's the thing, Charlotte. Again, I love that you said that I don't know why we get intimidated. We all do. But the thing is, that's what's holding us back. So the very thing that we want to overcome to be able to get the results is the thing that we push back from, which is why we're going over this. Because if we truly work together back and forth, we're going to keep squeezing it and squeezing it and squeezing it until you've worked it. And then all of a sudden you're realizing it's coming out of your mouth and people are actually responding to you. And they're responding positively.
Positively, yeah.
Like right now where yours is, I know we've got to squeeze it some more. We're going to be tweaking it and squeezing it some more because it's still a little lengthy. But the thing is, it's now on paper. Now I can actually work together with you, and between the two of us, we can go, okay, where's this go? And you might come back and go, well, I can't say that because that's not what I'm trying to say. And we're going to work it together. It's not my story. It is your story. But the thing is, because somebody else helped me to create and get my story down, I'm now able to turn around and help you create your story. So don't be intimidated. That's the least of your worries, you guys, is to be intimidated by this, because it's the one thing that holds back. Once you get a story that people can relate to, again, they're buying you. And you want them to be able to, you want to elicit that response from people and get people to want more information from you about what you have. That would be a solution for them.
It was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Yay! Very good. Laura, are you there? I can't see you. I saw you before. Oh, there you are.
She's there.
Let me unmute you. Oh, I can't unmute you. Are you on?
Let me see.
There you go. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can now. So can you, I know that we've been working on yours as well. Can you kind of share with everybody the part, like what your tips were, what you took away from it in terms of putting your story together, where you came from to where you are today with it? Laura's a master coordinator, so she's been around to figure some of this out. She just has a little more experience than some of you. So Laura, can you share?
Well, actually, when I sat down to redo my 2-minute commercial, because I took a little hiatus there for a while, and then I came back to do it, it was like, well, who am I and what am I doing? And I had to figure that out. So I agree with you, Charlotte. For anyone who is apprehensive about sitting down and doing this, it really puts a pulse on where you are with your business and helps you self-examine where you want to go. And when I was going over all the tips on 2-minute commercials, I looked at my old one versus the one I wanted to, how I wanted to revise it. I was surprised to find out that actually 60 seconds is to be spent on your past. And then 30 seconds the middle of it is like what's going on now, and then 30 seconds on your where you see yourself. But even more important, you have to say it with inflection or a different tone in your voice, because that elicits emotions and people reaching out to you or empathizing or saying, yeah, me too. And if you can't say it with that, then you have to revamp it and get another 2-minute commercial. And because people are going to follow you, especially when you end with where you're going. If it doesn't excite you to put a smile on your face when you're saying it, then once again, you have to look at that again and then see exactly what it is you really want.
Awesome. Could you, I don't know if you have yours, I know you just kind of rolled in from another meeting. Do you have yours there that you could share with everyone where you are right now?
I do. We haven't revamped it, but I am going to read it because it is new. It's a little new format. So I am going to read it so we can get right through it. My background is special ed elementary education. I have been blessed to have been a stay-at-home mom for our 3 children. Our insurance brokerage business afforded us the luxury of being there for our kids for all their school and sports. We also traveled, and time was our own. We had the L factor. We had saved for retirement, and we were insured for everything, at least we thought. Then one night, in a blink, our lives were turned upside down. We witnessed an accident on a highway, and my husband ran to the site to help the injured. A truck swerved out of control and hit my husband head on. For 2 years, my husband underwent surgeries and was not able to work. I had to get my insurance license under extreme stress to keep the business doors open. My mom was full-time nanny, that is until she developed severe sciatica. We were dipping into our retirement savings at an alarming rate to keep the bills paid and the business stores opened. During this time, the insurance industry underwent drastic changes, and so did our L factor, leverage. But we were not prepared for this. My husband finally got back to work after my mom introduced us to something that alleviated her sciatica and actually restored feeling to my husband's feet. But we were still left with the daunting task of how we would recoup our lost retirement funds. We couldn't turn back time. I was faced with going back to work full-time teaching, but that wasn't going to be enough after factoring in childcare. We still had a baby at home. But then I found the unfranchised business. It had the L factor and more. This was a no-brainer for me, actually for us. I was so excited that I found a way to be home with my kids doing what I'm so passionate about, educating families to improve their health and add the L factor to their financial fitness. I'm especially excited that this is a solid vehicle to recoup our losses and provide for a retirement we always dreamed of traveling, being involved grandparents, and being there for our family. I can't stress the importance of a backup plan and multiple streams of income. We learned the hard way.
What a beautiful
Wow.
story. Again, no different than Denise's story that she read. This is a full 2-minute commercial story that she would do as a conversation. So what we're working on right now is how do you take, because obviously there's many pieces to Denise's story, many pieces to Laura's story that you heard, and you go, wow, those are important pieces. But the thing is, we got to bring it down to a short conversation of 30 seconds or less that can make them ask questions and maybe want more of the story. So what I'm going to be helping Laura to do is squeeze that down so that she can actually, at a party or at the grocery store or sidelines of something with the kids or grandkids, be able to have a short something that's going to say where she was, where she's going, and why she's so excited about it. And I love that you talked about inflection in your voice, because if it's just flat, and we see that a lot of times, if it's just flat, people aren't going to buy into you. And I'm not saying if you're not an excitable person, then you don't want to be somebody you're not. but you've
Right.
got to show some excitement for where you're going, or people are not going to want to join you.
And Beth, and the thing is, you have to read these and know it over and over again and practice, just like with the business plan, or so that you can just jump in and say it. Like, for instance, at our local, Cullen, the words were not, the video was not playing the audio, and it was supposed to be a sit back moment for him for the video to run, that 5-minute credibility video. And only because he watched that so many times, he narrated that like the perfect MC. And that's like with this 2-minute commercial, so that you say it enough that you can just, the pieces will pop up for you.
That's right. It goes back to what we said at the very beginning about sharpening your axe. If you're not practicing your skills, it will show in public. What you do in private will show in public. So you've got to commit to yourself to get good at practicing in private, and then sharing it with somebody. It's not about going out and sharing it with the whole world. Don't go out and share it with anybody yet. Come back to this format with 1 or 2 other people. And I love that we're using Marco Polo, which is an app that we can video. And so like Maria shared her story via Marco Polo today, so that we can actually hear the story and then be able to go back and forth. And so I'll be going back and forth. So Maria, do you want to just kind of wind us up? What have you taken away from working on your 2-minute commercial, and any tips that you could share before we exit tonight?
Well, I can say I've taken away everything that everybody prior to me has said. And, you know, Charlotte was talking about the intimidation factor. And I can tell you, for me, I found it very liberating. And once I rewrote what I wrote and recorded my Marco Polo, I took out my phone and I did it 3 times without the paper in front of me, to see what I got and where I changed and where I stuttered and where I needed to, you know, just kind of sit and make sure I have those words that they come out the same, because I always stuttered and I always stumbled in the same spot, it seemed. And I've also gone now, you know, I think I told you I have a alarm on my phone for my goal statement at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And I've gone in and added to do my 2-minute commercial at 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, so that I kind of get in the habit of, like I'm doing my goal statement, I can recite this 3 times a day.
Beautiful. Wow, you guys, those are big tips to take away. And Maria, this has been a process, am I right? This isn't like you just decided, like you just started the business last month and you decided that like you're going to just do everything everybody tells you to do.
Exactly. It's been a process, and I've never, like Charlotte said, sat and written this down. I've just been, you know, you just wing it. So this has forced me to write it down. It allows me to go in and say, yeah, that doesn't really sound right. You got to change this. And it's easier to do that when you're looking at it in written form. So it's been a liberating experience.
Amen. I can't even begin to tell you what we've all learned from doing this. And I want to encourage all of you that are on the call tonight to take these tips away, work on yours, and whatever questions you have, message somebody in the team. We are all here and willing to help with one another. And it's all about all of us working together to move everyone forward. Don't be intimidated. I know it can be, but it's us getting in our own heads. And sometimes it's hard to hear, you know, sometimes it's hard for somebody to coach us. You know, especially I always say when you get into your, you know, your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, you've been doing things a certain way. And it's like, and now somebody's going to tell you what to do or how to do it or how to change it. And it's kind of like the posture goes up like, don't you tell me. If we can just be more receiving and allow each other to breathe life into each other, we're going to get that much better at going out and breathing life into other people. So I just want to encourage everyone to really, truly get your 2-minute commercials started. Let's get the process down, because if you practice it and put it on a regimented schedule like Maria, my goodness, that's incredible. Then you're committed to yourself to learn it. And you're committed to go out there. And eventually what's going to happen is you're just going to start saying things to people. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, did I just say that? Where'd that come from? So incredible, incredible. Thank you all for sharing. I think this was very, very helpful. I look forward to seeing all of your 2-minute commercials. And we will be doing some more calls like this to coach with coaching tips. But in between, watch BV411 on the Facebook page, because we will do short little clip videos that we, give little tips like this here and there that would just be like 2 minutes to 15 minutes max. And then we'll come back together to do more calls like this. So I'm just going to open it up. I have another call coming up in about 15 minutes. I'm just going to open it up and unmute everyone. Let me go ahead and stop the recording if I know how to do that. Let's see here.
I think maybe
That one?
that part here, hit that one.